All right, what is going on YouTube? This is going to be another video. I'm going to try to get right into it. This is pretty much just going to be wealth building secrets that I wish I was told growing up, because I know that for a lot of us, we are sort of, financially ignorant when it comes to terminology, certain practices, how the rich actually get rich. We're kind of indoctrinated into this sort of, sheep worker bee sort of lifestyle where you go to work for 8 hours, 40 hours a week or whatever. You go to work for 40 hours a week, and then you get your little paycheck. You get your taxes automatically taken out. You contribute to your 401k or your Roth or whatever it is through your job. And you just kind of like settle for that. Most people live off of credit. And honestly, for me personally, that is a terrible way of living, and I never want to live like that. So I frequently do so much research on money, which I'm sure if you're watching this video, you have too. And I just want to share with you the things that I wish I knew that I could put into practice a little bit earlier on. I'm still young. I'm 21 years old. I'm just now starting the business and everything like that. We're a little bit over a year old now. But there are just some things that I wish that I could have started to implement into my life and into my business. Now, the first thing is going to be sort of like an explanation of taxes, right? What are taxes? What do they do? How you can lower your taxable income, different ways that the rich avoid taxes. And this is something that I'll be completely transparent on. This is going to be my first year really filing for taxes. So I've been going down the YouTube rabbit hole and speaking to my, family members that are CPAs and different things on how I can reduce my taxable income, how taxes work, ways that you can not evade, but just not pay as much in taxes, right? So overall, taxes, especially for business owners, it's you doing a bunch of work and then Uncle Sam saying, I need some of that, okay? Taxes are a bit unfair, that's just an opinion, but I'm not going to be too opinion based on this one. But what they are basically is the U.S. government saying, we need some of your money so that we can, build the country, right? It goes to things supposedly for the country. It goes to our military. It goes for our government. It goes to, infrastructure like on the state level or the city level. If you have like taxes to your city, property taxes, that'll go to like your streets and to your school districts, all the different stuff. Anything that is controlled or, has some say by the government, that's pretty much where your taxes are going. When you see, Ukraine getting billions of dollars from the U.S., that's our tax money. That's why you hear people complaining about it and everything. All these different like little programs that we might find stupid or helpful ones also, such as like low income housing and, the food stamps and different things like that, all comes out of taxpayers' money. But pretty much Uncle Sam says, you made this amount of money. I want this percentage of it. Let me get that. When you work a job, it automatically gets taken out by your employer. Your employer sets aside a certain amount and does all the work basically for you. You still have to file your taxes at the end of the year, but pretty much your employer does all the heavy lifting for you. You just get, your paycheck and then you're good, right? And for the most part, you will get money back if you are employed, right? Like that's usually like how it goes. You won't, the employer will overpay. Your employer will overpay to the government. And then at the end of the year, when you do your taxes, the government will say, okay, you overpaid, here's some money back. You know what I mean? So it's pretty simple. Now, as a business owner, you make your money, right? You get your Zelle payments, your Stripe payments, cash, all that stuff. Your duty now is to report to the government, I made this much, right? After all your expenses. And you basically take your income minus your expenses, that's your profit, and then you tell the government, this is how much I made in profit. The government says, okay, this is your tax rate, and then you have to pay the taxes on that profit, right? So that's taxes, right? That's something that I wish I sort of had a better understanding of, and a better understanding of just like being prepared for it, because now it's the end of the year. It's literally December 29th, 2024. It's going to be 2025 in like a day or two, right? So I didn't really start thinking about taxes, like really thinking about it, until about, I want to say, the beginning of November, December. I didn't think about it. I was just like, I save my money. I'm really good with money, but I didn't think about taxes and really paying about it. I was just like, it's whatever. Like, who cares? But now, it's starting to hit. So if you're looking to become an entrepreneur, that is something that you 100% have to take into account, is taxes, because the government is always going to get their piece, no matter what way they do it, right? The government will put you in jail. The government will seize your assets. The government will auction off your assets just to get their money. So if you don't pay your taxes, you're setting yourself up for failure, because the government has so much more power and dominion over your life than you even realize. They can, every penny that you put into the bank account, they can snatch that. Your property, whatever you have bought or is an asset to you, they can have that. Stocks, they could have that. They can just take it from you. So you have to be prepared for taxes. That's a major one. Now, the good thing about owning a business rather than being an employee when it comes to taxes is that as a business, you get to make your money, spend it, and then pay taxes. As an employee, you get to make your money, pay taxes, and then you get to spend it. So basically how it works is, as a business owner, this is for business owners, all your operating costs for your business is a tax write-off, right? So taking your client out for a meal, tax write-off. The car that you drive, tax write-off. You could write off miles, you could write off repairs, you could write off the purchase depending on the vehicle and the circumstances. What else? For me, camera equipment, tax write-off. So any camera that I want to get, tax write-off. I just have to have a receipt, or, we really don't have to have a receipt, but, it's best to have a receipt, have a record of what you bought. Everything. Lights, cameras, microphones, meals, travel as in plane tickets, travel as in hotels, travel as in this and that. What else? Softwares, your Adobe subscription, your computer, your MacBook. You buy a MacBook, you could write that off. Adobe charges like $400 something a year. You could write that off. You got new tires for your car, you could write some of that off. You have basically anything pertaining to your business, right? You could write that off. Now, if you're somebody such as myself, where your life revolves around your business, basically all of your expenses are tax write-offs. All of them. Now, I can't write off my cat's food, but I can write off basically everything else. If I'm going out and purchasing a uniform for my business that says my logo on it, that's a tax write-off. And like, these are things that are helpful, because as a business owner, you're always looking for more business. So everything that you do is probably already going to pertain to your business. You're not going to do much that's for yourself. I mean, like, if you do, you have very good moderation and, self-control and enjoyment of life. But for me, myself personally, everything that I do, I live and breathe, is my business. So everything is a tax write-off. So if you're going to be a business owner, you have to keep that in mind. Now, another way that you can sort of reduce your taxable income, there are a couple ways, right? There are a lot of ways, actually. But another way, outside of writing off your expenses, are investments, right? So things like a solo 401k. Most of them are going to be retirement accounts. I think you could also do like a HSA, health savings account or whatever. I'm going to pretend like I know what that means, but I honestly don't know what it means. So, pardon me for that, but, hopefully somebody can educate me in the comments. But you can contribute to these different, accounts, these different investments, retirement accounts, and you'll be able to write that off on your taxes. If you have a home, right, and you use part of your home for your business, like you have a home office or you have like a studio in your home, you get to write off part of your rent, or you get to write off part of your mortgage payment. Another thing that you could do for reducing your taxable income and which I'm trying to do within the future, but I just don't have the bandwidth to do yet, is you can depreciate your assets, right? So what that means is kind of like with the car thing, right? Some cars, you can't write off the entire amount of the car, right? Say you buy a G-Wagon that's over 6,000 pounds. Sometimes you can't write off the $200,000 car, but you can depreciate the car over the span of 5 years, and then it'll basically add up to the amount of the car. It just won't be the total amount like of the $200,000, right? It'll be say like $50,000 a year or something like that, right? Another thing you can do is depreciate real estate. And that's why a lot of rich people will park their money in real estate. They'll park their money in real estate because it has so many like tax benefits and, you know, tax savings for you. Let me broaden it for you really quick. You have a $500,000 house. You only put 3% down on that $500,000 house, right? I don't want to do the math right now, right? But you put 3% down on that $500,000 house. Now, you didn't really buy the whole house. You took out a loan for the rest of the money. For the 97%, you took out a loan for that. But no matter what, you can still depreciate that asset year over year if it's like a rental property or whatever it is. I don't think you can do it for a residential, like, you know, your primary residence. But for a rental property, you can take out that loan, only put down $15K and depreciate the asset, and maybe reduce your taxable income by like $20,000, $30,000. Who knows? Like I don't know what the legal limit is, but you can depreciate the asset a whole lot. And imagine buying so many rental properties, right? You buy 15 rental properties, you put 3% down on all of them. Not only are you receiving rental income, but you're able to depreciate each of those an additional like 30,000 or 50,000. You only put down 15 and you're depreciating it at 50,000 every single year on each one of those. Now, if you're making a lot of money, you get to reduce your taxable income from $1 million a year all the way down to like, who knows what, maybe 100K. And that's a good deal. That's a very good deal. You're not paying a mortgage and you're able to depreciate the asset and reduce your taxable income. Kind of crazy. So that's like really, that's really it for the whole taxes part. This is already going to be a long video, so we're at 13 minutes. Another thing that I wish I knew about getting rich is trading your time for money really won't get you rich. You know, you can have a really good job, you know, and this is like not against people with jobs, right? Because I have a habit of like talking down about jobs just because it's not my bop, right? A job isn't my bop. You know, I have much more belief in myself than I do in a job paying me something. And I also just feel like a slave to somebody when I have a job. So I have my personal opinions about it. But what I will say about having a job versus making your own income, I'm not even going to say entrepreneurship or being a business owner, but making your own income, is that your time doesn't equate to a dollar amount, right? If you work 8 hours, right? Say you're an average person. If you work 8 hours, you made maybe like $115 to $150 that day, after taxes or before, I don't even know, right? You made that much, right? $150, let's say. Somebody that's a business owner could charge for a service because they provide value, a higher leverage amount of value, and it could be the same amount or even less work. For instance, right? I'm an FAA certified drone pilot. Now, I don't practice in like drone pilotness all the time. But what I will say is that myself and other drone pilots, they can charge a whole lot. Like they could charge $300 to $500 per hour just flying a drone around, which nowadays is the easiest thing because DJI has all these features. You got obstacle avoidance, you got orbit, you got everything, and you have like this at an affordable rate, right? Like drones aren't affordable, but like for what you can get with it, it's affordable, right? So with a high leverage skill like that, you could do a job that only takes about a day and get $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. That's it. Same thing with like videography or more so like cinematography, right? Like making commercials and stuff. Yeah, you have pre-production, post-production, the shoot day, renting gear and everything. But because it's such a high leverage skill, it could be a short period of time and it could be a very large payout. With a job, it's when you, some people have things that I wish I was told.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to share.
You had a good time in there?
Yeah, I did my Stairmaster, and then I ended up doing the hip abductors.
Nice.
And I actually felt it. Usually I don't feel the hip abductors that much in my glutes, but like today I did. I think it's because I did the Stairmaster first. I think it helped.
Nice, mama.
Yeah.
Good job. Okay, back to what I was saying. Is it okay if we sit here for a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, with a higher leverage skill, you don't have to trade your time for the money, right? So, as with a job, right? Some of us, we might think of it hourly or salary, right? Like a lot of teachers and stuff, they'll have a salary, right? Or, big corporate jobs, you'll get $80K a year, right? If you're, in a lower level job, usually you get paid hourly, right? You get paid like 21 or 25 an hour, or, blue collar, a lot of work, they get paid hourly. And sometimes we think about it like that. But if you change the thought process from your hourly to being salary, because it's the same thing, then you start to realize that, okay, I work this amount of time and I'm confined to this amount of pay. Instead, with not even a business, but just being able to create your own income, you can leverage yourself to charge whatever you want, because it could be project based, it could be hourly based, it could be anything you really want it to be, because like you're in a position of control of the situation, right? That's pretty much it with the leverage thing. The next thing that I did want to talk about is investing. Now, I've always been spoken to and taught about investing, but there wasn't much action with it, but investing is super important. And like, on a basic level, most millionaires get rich off investing into retirement accounts. Now, when I hear that, that sounds like it sucks, because you contribute your entire working life, like 40 years, to maybe enjoy the back half or back, 20 years or whatever. You start contributing at 22, and then all the way up till 59 to 62, you basically have to wait until you're able to access that money, or else you're going to face penalties, and some of it you can't get at all. So most millionaires, I think like 80% or more, got their $1 million from investing in 401ks, Roth IRAs, all that different stuff. And if that's your bop, cool. But for me personally, I wish that I was told how to invest at an earlier age, because like I want to do it now even, but like how to invest in things like, stocks in terms of like trading, like day trading, or invest in crypto, or invest in anything that can give me a very fast return, because you might as well invest and take the big risk while you're young, because you have a little bit of leeway to mess up. An old person that's like 50 that's trying to invest, okay, maybe not. Maybe you should put it in a retirement account, because you have like a little bit of time just to, get it right. But as a young person, you have the next 40 years to basically get it right. So for the first 5 to 10, you might as well just like throw your money at the wall or throw it in the sky and see where it lands, Like your odds of winning in that, they're kind of high. So that's something that I definitely think that I wish I was taught more about. And even things like real estate investing, like I know a lot about it, but I wish I just had it like sort of in the back of my mind with all the processes associated with it, like building your credit, which is going to be the next topic. Remember that, because I forgot it before. But, things like building your credit and having 2 years worth of job income or whatever, and this thing is dying. 2 years worth of job income, or, finding out where you want to buy a house, what kind of house you want to buy, budgeting for it. You know, you have to have money for a down payment, for inspections, for closing costs, for all this stuff. You might think that you're putting 3% down, and some of the other costs you might be able to incorporate into your mortgage payment, but for the most part, your 3% is going to quickly turn to like 6 or 7% at closing table, because you didn't realize, oh, I have to put 3% down, pay the lawyers their fees, pay the realtor their fees, pay the inspection guy, turn on the water, turn on the heat, all this just before moving in or just before signing anything. So like you have to like start to think about these things and budget for them and get ready for them, because they will sneak up on you, and then you won't have enough money, and then you'll be stuck taking out an additional loan, like a personal loan, or maybe using your credit cards or whatever, which are much higher interest than a mortgage payment, right? So keep that in mind. Now, the last thing that I want to sort of, address about wealth building is credit, because I knew about credit, but both my parents have like terrible credit, right? So with that, like, I was like, okay, like, credit is cool, but like, I don't need it. I want to just have straight cash. I don't want to borrow money or whatever. That is the dumbest thing ever, right? Credit is bad for people that are bad with money. Credit is bad for people that are bad with money. If you're terrible with money and you don't have self-control and don't know how much money you have or how much money you spend, then a credit card is bad, because at the end of the month, you have to pay it back, right? But if you're somebody such as myself who's good with money, you shouldn't be afraid of credit. You should be able to leverage it, because credit is going to allow you to have access to more money, because get this, money makes more money. You need money to make money, right? It's like investing.
10x that shit.
10x that shit, right? You need money to make money. Stock market, you need to invest money to make money. Real estate, you need to invest money to make money. So if you have access to more money that's not even yours, you have more money to play around with and leverage than like the amount of cash that you have, right? Now, like my father, he's bad with money, so he's afraid of credit, and he's not really a big advocate for it. I'm an advocate for it, because it's like, I'm going to be able to use the bank's money, the bank's $300,000 or $500,000 that they're going to give me just to like buy a house, and then basically use that to buy a house, get somebody to pay for it, get a tenant to pay for it, and then like I have a free house at the end. I didn't even do nothing other than put money down and then use the bank's money, use the rest of it for the bank's money. If you're putting 3% down on the house and the bank is financing the 97%, you invested basically none of your money and got a return of like $500,000, which is kind of insane. It's like, yeah, fucking, I'm not going to use my money. Pardon my tongue, but I'm not going to use my money. So credit is definitely big. And me learning now, because I'm trying to utilize my credit, I'm having a very hard time, because the banks are denying me for everything, right? I can't get anything. Like, I'm just now able to have credit cards. I'm about to do like personal guaranteed loans and stuff, just so I can build up my credit, because I can't get approved for a loan. I can't get approved for a car without getting a terrible rate. So when I do go to buy a house, or when I do ask the bank for a loan to renovate a house or whatever, I want to be sure that I'm getting a good rate for it. That's going to save me money. I want to make sure that I'm going to have access to more money than I would now. Imagine I never worked on my credit. When I ask the bank for a mortgage, they'll maybe give me like $100,000 worth of a mortgage if they look at my pay stubs, but they won't give me anything else. Instead, if I have the credit to go along with the income that I make from a job, then the bank is going to be like, sure, I'll give you $600,000 or $500,000. Like, why not? And with your credit, it's a time game. It's like you have to build it over time. There's no way that I know of where you could just kind of do it in like a year, quick, fast. Nah, you can't. Like it. Maybe there's some like finessing ways if you have the capital to, do some secured card with a limit of $10,000 or a pledge loan or a personal guaranteed loan for $20,000. If you have that capital, then yeah, like maybe you can build your credit like that fast. But for the average person, You're not going to be able to build your credit that fast in 1 year. It's going to take you years of building, having a secure credit card, a $1,000 limit, $2,000 limit, $5,000 limit, and then some loans, a auto loan, all that different stuff. And if you're like me, where you're not buying a new car, you're not leasing a new car, and you just buy an old car straight cash, again, like you don't have that diversity in your credit profile. And so the bank and everybody that's going to want to lend you money is going to look at you and be like, we have no record of you like holding a lot of money, meaning a lot of other people's money, right? The bank looks at your history with a magnifying glass. They look at what you've done in the past for everything, right? They look at your job income, the 2 years or whatever. They look at your credit profile. They look at your entire life, right? I tried to open up a bank account. They were like, no, you can't because you owe this other bank money. Like a bank that I had when I was 15 or 16. Like they look at everything, your entire past. It's a separate bank. They look at your everything, bro. So having your credit, start early, realize that you're gonna have to have a strong credit profile to have access to more money than you currently have. And if you play your cards right, you can invest none of your money and just make money. You could use a personal loan, put it down on a house, get the financing for it from a bank, and then have rental income coming in. You just pay off the loan, or you could even like fix and flip, which I plan on doing. Take out a personal loan, buy the distressed property, take out another like construction loan, fix up the property, and then resell it for double or triple the price. And then what? I pay back my loans, and then I just walk away with my cash. So it's like you have to like start to think about these things instead of being all scary and you know, afraid of like borrowing money. Yeah, like, you know, again, if you don't know how to use it, then it's a bad idea. A lot of people that are afraid of borrowing money are from the 2008 crash, because what the banks did was the banks basically said, yeah, we want all our money. They went to everybody that had like a mortgage and all this other stuff, and they were like, we want our money. People couldn't pay the money, and so a lot of people foreclosed on their houses. A lot of people got scared. A lot of people sold their stocks, everything like that. So a lot of people became scared of borrowing money. Sure, you could be scared of borrowing money, but even in a situation like that, the banks didn't even repossess the properties because there was too much going on. And I feel like there's like laws in place now to where the banks can't do that, you know? It's just a lot.
Sounds confusing.
It's really confusing. It's really confusing. But the truth is, having credit or having the ability to have access to somebody else's money is super powerful, because you could buy bigger shit. Pardon my tongue. You could buy bigger shit and make more money with the big shit. You know? Because with your little money that you have, the little $10,000, $20,000 that you have in savings, it could only get you so far. But if you have access to the bank's millions of dollars, then you get to just leverage that and then just pay them back. You could do something. You could do a really fast play. Yo, check this out. You could do a really fast play. You could buy a property, renovate it, and do everything within a month and pay the bank back with no interest. Not a single dime of interest. That like 8% interest rate that you got, you won't even have to pay none of it. Just because you did it so quick fast before that mortgage thing came. And for the most part, I think like mortgages don't kick in until like maybe like 60 or 90 days like after the sign of the lease and everything. So if you start day after you get the key to the house, you might be able to finish renovating the property and doing everything before you have to even pay the bank, and then sell it before you even have to pay the bank. Because if you price it right and don't be greedy, you could do all that, flip that, make that money, and then you just walk away with $1 billion, you know?
Yeah.
So that's all I gotta say. So what was the list? It was credit, there was high leverage skills or high leverage income. There's, I don't even remember the first one that I said.
Was it about
You weren't here for the first one. Investing, right? So credit, high leverage income, investing, and then something else in the beginning of the video. You guys can remind me of it. But other than that, I think those are definitely the big money tips that I wish I was really like ingrained in my head. Now, I'm a pretty smart guy, so I've known about it, but just having the ability and the know-how on how to actually take the action is what I mean. So now you know what you could do. Oh, it was taxes. The first one was taxes. Yeah. So credit, high leverage income, taxes, and
loans.
Yeah, and investing.
Yeah.
Investing, right? So use those, flip that, make $1 million off of that.
10x.
10x that shit. You just gotta 10x that shit, man. You could. I know it's possible because one day I'm gonna do it. One day I'm gonna do it. I'm 21 now, and I guarantee by the time I'm like 27, it's gonna be an entirely different thing. And that's not even getting into investing in businesses and all that other stuff, because by that time you're gonna see the 5 laundromats, all the vending machine businesses, all the storage facility business. I'm not even gonna say that one too much because that one's a secret, but all of it, I'm gonna have it. So you could either sit there and just watch me talk about it, or you could do it with me, because you know there's so much money out in the world that everybody could get it. You know, Elon Musk makes trillions of dollars a year or billions of dollars a year. I feel like I should be able to make a couple mil myself. So, you know, other than that, I appreciate anybody that stayed this long. It was like a 30-something minute video. You're gonna win if you watched it all the way through. So,
Yeah.
peace.